Good evening to everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order, a meeting of the Board of Education Business Meeting, which does occur in public. First item we have that you've seen and have before you is to approve the agenda. So I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Mr. Ransom,
Second.
second Ms. Argo, all in favor, please raise your hands. Passes 4-0. Dr. Branch,
Yes, sir.
before we get on with the rest of it, would you share what happened today, please?
Yes, sir. I just wanted quickly, board members, to give you a bit of great news. We have been over at Piedmont's Oconee Health Campus since 7 a.m. this morning, and all of our schools and staff have gone through there. We've vaccinated over 700 staff and teachers today, and just want to thank our partners at Piedmont and the governor's office for allowing us to vaccinate our teachers today. It was with great pride that we started that at 7 a.m. on the first day of opportunity, and our staff was elated to have that opportunity, and it was a wonderful day all day long. And in fact, they're still wrapping up a few more staff members as we speak right now as they close things out. So thank you for your continued support of our staff and your consideration tonight on additional consideration for that. Just wanted to give you a brief update there.
That's wonderful news.
Right. Thank you, I appreciate you sharing that with
Yes,
us. Next on the agenda is minutes approval, and we're voting to approve the minutes of February the 8th. That was a regular session, and March 1st, which is our last work session. So I do need a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved, Ms. Argo.
Second.
Second, Mr. Ransom. All in favor, please raise your hand. That passes 4-0. Next is recognitions. Lisa.
Good evening, everyone. As you all come forward for this evening's recognitions, I'll note that the art display this month right out here is provided by the students of Oconee County High School, and their instructor is Bess Carter. And I was able to go over to OCAP, and if you haven't been there yet, Youth Art Month is going on, and there is some absolutely beautiful student artwork on display. It represents all 11 of our schools, and at ocap.com you can also view an online gallery. Well, first of all, we're very pleased to wish the Oconee County Board of Education a happy School Board Appreciation Week. When board members arrived this evening, there were gifts from all of our schools at their seats in an effort to say thank you. Our Board of Education is the Georgia School Board Association's Governance Team of the Year, their highest honor. In addition, the board is a GSBA exemplary school board. Their governance was noted as a powerful practice by our accrediting body, Advanced Ed. The faculty, staff, and students of Oconee County Schools are indeed very appreciative for the leadership provided by our exemplary board, this year more than ever. Thank you to all of you for your service. And we want to hit a few highlights of what you received this evening from our schools. Wagons, chairs, galvanized buckets, Yeti ramblers, plants, desserts, all sorts of wonderful things, and even an OCS remote controlled light designed and made by the North Oconee engineering class. So we hope all of you enjoy these goodies provided to you by all 11 of our schools. And next up, the board will recognize the March Pursuit of Excellence Award winner in the category of Student Services. And the winner is Ms. Lori Lewis, the school nurse at Oconee County Elementary School. Come on up, Nurse Lori. So now you get to stand there and hear all the wonderful things that have been said about you, Nurse Lori. So tonight you're receiving a $50 Visa gift card and a sports chair provided by Peach State Federal Credit Union. Benson's Hospitality Group donated a one-night stay at Spring Hill Suites, and you're holding a commemorative plaque from Oconee County Schools. So here's what some of your colleagues had to say about you. Nurse Lori works very hard each day to help educate teachers and students on ways to help keep all of us healthy. She's very friendly to all students and staff members and very patiently listens and answers questions. She's an awesome school nurse. Another said, Nurse Lori is such a huge part of our school community at OCES. Not only is she the picture of professionalism, she is truly one of the kindest people in the world. She goes above and beyond for our students and staff every single day. Her care as a nurse shines in everything she does. And then from Principal Ashley Templeton at your school, Oconee County Elementary, she said, Nurse Lori goes above and beyond to help students, staff, and parents in every way possible. She's always willing and excited to help. She shows kindness and compassion to everyone she encounters. Nurse Lori puts everyone before herself and is always there to help out. She is loved by all and is an asset to the OCES community. Way to go, Nurse Lori.
Alright, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 5.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
And next we have lots of honorees to recognize from North Oconee High School tonight. So our first honoree couldn't be here. We're going to start off with the swim team. And so GHSA 4A swimming for girls, we had Karen Zhao win first place for the second consecutive year in the 100 free and first place in the girls 200 free for the fourth consecutive year. She couldn't be here, and so we'll send the certificate, but that was just truly exceptional. Now the board will recognize the GHSA 4A girls swimming 1 meter diving awardees. Second place, Ren Drudge, and third place, Carly Wells.
Ren,
Carly, congratulations.
Ren's not,
pardon?
Ren is not here.
Ren is not here.
Well, we want to get your picture.
Yes, right here.
So,
Congratulations.
Thanks, awesome.
yeah, come on in. Okay. I've got to hang tight. Hold on, we're going to go ahead though and do the girls 200 free relay. So now the board will recognize the girls GHSA 4A girls swimming 200 free relay awardees and 400 free relay awardees. But this team won third place in both events. Bryn Hallback, Ansley Hallback, Felicia Persner, and Karen Zhao, who couldn't be here this evening.
She's sorry.
Okay.
I can take those good together.
Congratulations.
And then Felicia, and I'll take that.
Congratulations, girls. So I'll come right here.
And I wanted to mention coaches Scott Burrell, Nicole Amora, and Marilyn Naughton. Are any other coaches here? All right, well, let me get y'all's picture.
You want to come this way?
Everybody in?
Everybody's in.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. All right.
Alright, and I. Alright, 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations, girls. Congratulations.
And now we've got some boys winners. I believe Gavin Jones is not here this evening, but he was first place in the boys 200 free and third place in the boys 500 free. So the North Swim team did an incredible job this year. And now we will recognize the North Wrestling team. So first the board will recognize the GHSA 4A Boys Wrestling Dual Teams winner. So hold on, and if y'all will go up in order that I call your names to receive your certificates. And this team won third place. Dawn Lasher, Aaron Davis,
Congratulations, Dawn.
Wyatt Anderson, Cole Kano, Luke Jarvis, Ethan Jarvis, Addison Young, Owen Carell, Afton Anderson,
Addison.
Bo Renand, JJ Fanning, Hayden Pryor, Matt Bryce, Sam Johnson, Peyton Fanning,
Sam.
Conager Wheeler,
Monica.
Jack Butler, Sean O'Brien, Ronan O'Brien,
Jack.
Gavin Bloom, Jonah Hunt, and Ashton Hefner. And their coaches Walker Daniel and Dustin Cordell. Let's get a group picture. Congratulations.
Need to do a double line there?
Definitely a double line.
All right, guys, short guys in the front, tall guys in the back. Go down, kind of. Yeah, y'all kind of stay right there, guys.
You need to be in front.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to hide that.
All right. And before I take a full group picture, we also had two other members of the team who were part of the second place traditional wrestling team. And that team again won second place at the state level. And so we want to add on Jack Bandy and Luke Smith and call in the managers Alex Barnhart, Madison Hamby, Anna Whitehead, Nor Cara, and Ava Lord, and again, coaches Walker Daniel and Dustin Cordell. So let's come on in for a big picture.
We are showing.
All right, let me move all this out of the way for pictures. Okay, and let's see, if y'all will look right here. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Oh, man.
Hey,
Hey, is that a 44 long? I need to borrow that.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Let's see. We've had quite a large group. I just wanted to mention that Zoe gave the remainder of the certificates. These were individual wrestling awards. Bo Renand first place, Sam Johnson first place, Gavin Bloom second place, and Austin Hefner third place. So wonderful evening, and that concludes this evening's recognitions.
Next on our agenda is Points of Pride. Tonight is the Coney County High School. Mr. Kevin Yancey, principal, is here and will present, I assume you're presenting it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having us. And,
Good to see you.
good to see you. I'll be joined tonight by Miss Andrea Bell, one of our counselors, and Miss Jean Bennett, one of our counselors. But we want to open up in one area of strength for us, one area that we're very proud of is the universal rollout of our social emotional learning program. We're going to talk about how it ties into our beliefs. Do I need to go full screen?
Yes, sir, we can do that. Please turn your mouse on. And your mic.
Good. Do all this. There we go.
Yes, sir. We're fancy now.
Thank you, thank you. But again, we're going to speak about social emotional learning and our implementation at Oconee County High School. And obviously, the universal rollout has come out in January. We'll talk about our schedule, where we are, our plans for the future, and kind of how we've gotten to where we are. Wow, my numbering's great right there. I promise we're better than that, but 1, 2, and 3 are belief statements at Oconee County High School. Just some words I want to pick out. So it's right here. Collaboration, making learning meaningful, contribute, create, cooperate, strong relationships, respect, and commitment to the community are all focuses that we're tying into our social emotional learning. And you'll see once we go through here our goals and what we're focusing on and where we plan to go and how we've gotten there and then what our future plans are with this rollout. I'm going to call it Miss Jean Bennett this time to take over. Please, ma'am.
Last year, when we found out that the board was going to allow us to have a fourth counselor for the purpose of implementing an SEL program, Mr. Yancey, my other counselors, and I discussed that we wanted to do this right. We didn't want to just throw something in and say we had SEL. And we've taken our time, but I think we're doing it the right way and being very intentional about what we're doing. The first thing we did, was look at what our goals are. We want to look at the specific needs of our students, not as perceived by us, but what they say. We're working with high schoolers. They know where their needs are. So we use the Georgia Health Survey that we're just starting to give for this year in schools right now, and a lot of talking to kids, finding out what they saw their needs as, and talking to the teachers that work with them every day. The idea is we want to create a community with all of our kids, no matter what their similarities and differences. And that is something that came out from the kids that they want. And then to spread that to the whole school. Social emotional learning is not just for our kids, but it's for our entire school, including our staff, because healthy educators make better educators. We're looking at the entire OCHS student, looking at leadership, working into academics, relationship, engagement, and involvement. I think we skipped there. And when we first rolled this out and we started talking to teachers and saying, we want y'all to have some buy-in and give us an idea of what you think our students need, our teachers told us really quickly that they didn't know what social emotional learning is. They thought it was something like classroom-based therapy. And they're like, we want to do this, but we don't think we have the skills. What they didn't realize is our good teachers do this already. This is part of everything a good teacher does. We have one teacher who teaches his students, it's just part of every day. When you go through life, be a good neighbor. He's encouraging those behaviors. And when you look at the CASEL competencies, which I know Mr. LaDuff has presented, it's self-management, self-knowledge, getting along with other people. These are soft skills. These are what industry has been telling educators for 30 years our kids need more of. These are the things that are going to make them successful in life. And so what we want to do is give every kid a common experience with SEL, in addition to what they're already getting naturally from teachers and in addition to what they're getting from CTAE classes, where these soft skills are already kind of embedded in those courses. Okay, now Ms. Bell is going to talk a little more about how we've been supporting our students and faculty.
So Ms. Bennett already touched on this a little bit, but we really wanted this to be an initiative that was student driven. We wanted to make sure that it was something that the students felt was meaningful and something that was of value to the students. So that was kind of what we did on the back end, was figuring out what the students' needs were, what their social and emotional concerns with. So when we were developing the lessons, it was something that could be applied to the concerns that they brought up. So we did implement with our students, actually tomorrow, we did Warrior Wellness Bingo, and I know a lot of our other schools had done it with the staff, and we've done it with the staff, but tomorrow we're having our kids, last week was our self-care week with our students, and they completed the bingo. And tomorrow at lunch, we're doing some raffles and prizes when they show us their completed bingo card. And we're actually also getting our parents involved. You know, when you talk about the whole child, there is a whole parent piece to it. And I know Ms. Bennett and Ms. Hale, our social worker, actually did an anxiety book club with parents to really talk about some of these topics that may be a little more sensitive, and really supporting parents with that as well. So Ms. Bennett touched on this a little bit, but it's super important that educators are healthy as well when dealing with our students. So we started Warrior Wellness Bingo with our staff in October. And by popular demand, we started it back with them last week. We also sent out a survey to our staff just asking them, hey, what can we do to help you, with healthy tips and taking care of yourself, especially right now with everything so stressful. We also, every Tuesday, we would have Take Care Tuesdays. So for a few minutes in each planning, we would provide our teachers the opportunity to just take a mental break. We would do mindfulness videos and sometimes lead, simple stretching just to give them an opportunity to recharge. And going back to the need, we really, as I mentioned before, we wanted this to be something that our students felt was meaningful. So we did hold focus groups with our students to see what the topics were that they were going through when we did roll out the topics in January. We also met with teacher focus groups just to see what we could do with our teachers because they're the ones that are implementing this content in the classrooms. This is just kind of an overview of the themes that were developed from those student and teacher focus groups. So in January, we talked about community. In February, we talked about positive coping skills, and along with that, the students did do the bingo, so that was part of that lesson. And I think I am turning it back over to Ms. Bennett. So where do we go from here?
Next year, we're going to use these SEL lessons and these themes as the backbone of all of our advisement. Obviously, there'll be times we'll have to do advisement that's more academic or about dual enrollment. But once a month, we want something that focuses on SEL. And we are not looking at this as something that we put in place for a year or two and then run away from and just leave it to do whatever it does. We're looking at this at a long-term rollout because we want these to become, these themes, these ideas of working together to become the culture of OCHS. And the example I used up here, when I started working in the system in 2000, we had 4 AP classes at Oconee County High School. Soon after that, the district made a decision, we want to offer more rigorous classes to our students who can handle them, and a bigger variety. We now have 15. We want that same longevity and growth to happen with SEL. Some of the things we've already talked about and planned, our first theme next year will be opportunity. Our kids said they don't have coping skills. The second most common theme was as we don't know how to get involved or where to get involved. So we're hitting that beginning of the school year. We've also discussed possibly seeing if we've got kids interested in doing something like the Take Care Tuesdays, before school, once we're in a position where we can be in a little closer contact, to sit and actually teach them some of the mindfulness and some of the breathing that we know will be useful the rest of their lives. So thank you for your support, and we hope to be back in a few years to give you more details of how this thing's grown. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just real quickly, I just want to reiterate a few points that Ms. Bennett touched on as far as, where we are, where we want to go. We understand we're not a perfect program now, but we understand. Blue lights on, there we go. It's, went off. There we go. Sorry there, Mr. White. We understand that it's not a perfect program. We're early in the program, and they're doing a great job seeking advice from our teachers in the building, seeking advice from our students to tailor those lessons to fit their needs. And we're going to continue to do that, whether for a subset of students in the 9th grade that we need to focus on something totally different than our upperclassmen. So just proud of the work that we're doing as a whole group, and very proud of the work our counselors are leading us in. Thank you for the autonomy to be able to design our programs specifically for our students and our teachers. So thank you.
Thank you. We want to thank you. We saw these programs with several systems a few years ago. And another item you mentioned was soft skills. We've heard that from business owners, not only in our community, but from larger corporations as well. And it is important. So I appreciate you doing this important work.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
Next on our agenda is the updated calendar. Dr. Branch.
Yes, sir. That's following under action items, board members, and so what we've are asking you to take a look at is in order to have the second dose vaccine take place on April the 2nd, that would allow us to use the same format we did today and vaccinate our teachers and staff in large chunks throughout the day. And so we would be recommending that the board modify the calendar to make April the 2nd a teacher and staff workday and a student holiday. We do far exceed the number of hours required by the DOE in terms of instructional time. And so we believe that this is a wonderful use of our time for our teachers and would ask that you approve that. So that's our recommendation.
Okay. Heard the superintendent's recommendation, and we saw this last week in our work session. So we do need a motion to approve unless you have any other questions of the superintendent. Okay. Motion to approve.
I make a motion to make April the 2nd a teacher workday and a student holiday so our teachers can get and staff can get a vaccination.
Okay. Ms. Argo's made that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Ransom seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes 4-0. Thank you. Next is communications to the board. And first up is business services. Sarah Anna, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Business Services has 6 items of information for tonight's board meeting. The first item of information is the cash balance report, and this is the cash balances as of February. The second item of information you have before you is a list of all vendors that were paid during the month of February, and there were over 400 vendors paid. The third item of information is the budget report. We are 2/3 of the way through the third quarter of the fiscal year, and revenues and expenditures are where we would expect them to be at this time. The fourth item of information is the Elos collections report. We had another good month of collections. The January collections are 11.76% more than the collections of January 2020. And the rolling average is 2.71% more than the previous year. The fifth item of information is the board report for Elos 5, and all the revenues and expenditures have been updated as of February. Board members, I do want to call your attention to the bond payment section that's near the bottom of the report. We did make a payment on the bond for Elos 5, and that payment has been reflected in this section. You will notice that we've got a small amount to be paid, $222,000 for the rest of the calendar year, and that will occur sometime around August. The last item of information is the total benefit statement, and this is something that we send our employees each year. Board members, as you know, the school system provides additional compensation to each employee through employer-paid portions of retirement and health insurance. So the example that you have before you is a teacher with a master's degree and 16 years of experience. So the health insurance and retirement benefits provided by the school system are nearly 44% of the actual average teacher salary. So the total benefit statement provides employees a summary of the value-added compensation that's provided by the board toward an employee's benefits. And so all employees had access to this statement as of March the 5th. And that concludes my report unless there are any questions.
The 91,000 is the figure for a teacher starting, pretty much.
Yes, sir.
Is that the rule of thumb you use when we're forecasting too?
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you. It's good information to know. And thank you for sharing it with staff. Really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Next, we have 2 speakers tonight who signed up for 5 minutes, and so I'm required here to, hopefully I can speak loud enough to do the, excuse me just a minute, okay? Just a moment, you're fine. I have to give this protocol statement. The board allows 5 minutes for comment from citizens who have been placed on the meeting agenda. 3 minutes are allowed for those who signed up at the meeting. Please state your name, address, topic. The board requests that you refrain from making any disparaging remarks about school system personnel. This provision protects board members from receiving information that might disqualify them from sitting on the tribunal should these issues come before the board at a later date. Generally, there will be no response to comments or questions posed by citizens at the meeting. All comments and questions will be received and taken under advisement by the board. When appropriate, a response will be made by the superintendent or a member of the board at or before the next regular session. However, any member of the board shall be free to respond and make public comments if he or she elects to do so. And so our first speaker is Leila
Leela.
Potts. Thank you. And thank you for being so eager to stand up and speak.
Thank you. I've been a resident of Oconee County for my entire life, and ever since I can remember, I've been told how lucky I am to live here. I began my education at Colm Ferry Elementary School, where I was surrounded by loving and generous teachers who made me look forward to coming to school every day. Even at a young age, I was given many opportunities to succeed and achieve my goals. I promised myself I would give everything I had in order to make this district proud of me. I wanted to prove my gratefulness for living here through my achievements. Currently, I am a junior at Oconee County High School. One aspect of my school that I highly appreciate is the countless ways that I can be involved. I'm a member of the dance team, National Honor Society, Beta Club, Health Occupation Students of America, FFA, and I'm an editor for the OCS Legend yearbook staff. I am also on the honor roll and have taken several advanced placement courses. I choose to be involved in my school because I want to make Oconee proud. I want to accomplish things that reflect well on this district. However, after all the hard work and that I and others like me have put into this district, I feel like you simply do not care. It was a really difficult thing to have to deal with when you realize that your own school system does not care about your safety. I feel as though all of my hard work and effort has been completely disregarded. I care so much about my school and the school system, but I feel like they do not care about me back. The only time that I feel heard by this district is when I am accomplishing something that makes the district look good. But when I want a decision enforced that could save the lives of people in this community, I feel silenced. By not mandating masks, you do not care about the health and safety of the students, teachers, and staff who devote their lives to this district. I used to look forward to coming to school because I thought that every time I stepped into the building, I was going to be truly cared for. But now, I'm scared to come to school. Every morning as I walk in, I hope and pray that more students will be wearing masks, and every day, I am disappointed. I choose to come to school in person because I feel I owe it to the teachers, because they don't have a choice whether to do school in person or online. I want to be there and support them because I know that they are scared too. I have witnessed my own teachers break down and cry in front of my classes, begging students to put on masks, and these students still refuse. These students refuse because they know they will face no school punishment. It's really hard to have to watch these amazing people that you respect break down in tears. And the teachers are not the only ones who have been affected by this district's refusal to mandate masks. Because of your abdication of responsibility, my mental health has been at the lowest point in my entire life. You claim to care so much about the well-being of your students, but by not mandating masks, you are putting many students through emotional and mental distress. I have been told by many members of this community that I am lucky to be in Oconee County, and that I would not want to be in a system such as Clark County. But I feel now that it is a little ironic that Clark County actually cares more about the well-being and safety of their students than Oconee County does. It is a simple scientific fact that wearing masks helps slow the spread of COVID-19. Yet this school system, which has multiple schools certified in teaching STEM, chooses to ignore a scientifically proven fact. So please, If you actually care about the well-being of your students, please enforce a mask mandate. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, I think we have, is it Michaela?
Yes.
Okay, Michaela Hobbs. Thank you.
Michaela Hobbs, I'm the parent of Leila Hobbs. There are families who move to this county for the schools. There are families who believe that support for OCS means leaving positive comments on social media. And then there are families like mine who have supported this system through financial commitment and personal sacrifice for decades. 22 years ago, when my husband and I bought our farm, we were not planning on children. I was commuting to Gwinnett to teach physics and chemistry and witnessing the brutal effects of bad policy on good teachers. In our first year, I began working with local farmers on farmland preservation. And I remember a conversation with one whose family has been here for generations. He asked me, Michaela, do you think it's fair that our farms pay so much in taxes when neither of us have children in schools? Our land pays for those schools because the tax bills of most residents don't cover their cost of services. I responded, whether I have children in the schools or not, I'm honored to support them because the work they do supports this entire community. Years later, when my husband and I started our family, I felt blessed that my children would be born in this county and this system. When my oldest started kindergarten, I vowed that I would do everything I could to support our teachers. They would get my master's degree in science education as a classroom volunteer. And after 10 years of paying for the education of other people's children, my husband did not hesitate to give the financial support of his business as a partner in education. When my children were old enough to compete in science fairs, they both stepped up and won. After my oldest daughter became the first elementary student in the county's history to win regionals 2 years in a row, Brian Kemp wrote her a personal letter thanking her for such outstanding representation of Oconee County. When asked to be the parent captain for Colin Ferry's first Science Olympiad team, I was proud to lead those dedicated families to regional and state championships 3 years in a row. And when Colin Ferry began STEAM certification, they again came to my family for help. I sat through countless meetings, and my youngest child was chosen to give an interview to the certification team. She's shy, and she cried that morning because she was nervous. She said, Mama, I don't want to mess up. My teachers need me to do good so we can get STEAM. When the county called on me to serve on parent committees for SACS accreditation, I was honored. Every time this county has demanded excellence, it is families like mine who have delivered. But now my girls feel that after more than a decade of hard work and sacrifice for their schools, this administration has abandoned them. At the start of the year, my family had the luxury to choose whether or not my girls stayed in the classroom, but our teachers and staff did not. That is why we chose to stay. The most fundamental question that every school board must ask itself is, what are we teaching our children? And what our children have learned this year is that our teachers can beg them over and over and over again to wear a mask for the safety of others, and they can refuse because this administration will do nothing. They have learned that the words of this administration mean nothing. For the majority of students who do care and mask up for their teachers and fellow students, they have learned that this administration lacks the courage to fight for their safety. This degradation of respect for authority will cripple our system for years. The two most important factors in the success of any school system are parental commitment to education and the quality of its teachers. This board and superintendent have been extremely lucky to be given gold standards of both. But after witnessing the obscene number of educators completely demoralized by the administration of Jason Branch, I can assure you that many are considering positions elsewhere.
Let's go. We just said, don't use the names. You said administration, okay? That's good enough, okay? We get the picture.
Can you pause my time since you cut into it?
That's fine with me.
You have encouraged an objective matter of science to be tossed around as a political football. You dump the burden of making critical public safety decisions onto the shoulders of children. This has been a hard year for everyone in this county. But the true heroes here are the teachers, staff, and students who have bravely stepped up to lead when Dr. Branch could not.
Thank you very much. Our past agenda, the only thing we,
Excuse me, Chairman, we do have one person that signed up to speak.
oh, excuse me, I apologize.
Miss Brooke Jeffs.
I'm sorry,
Hi, no, that's okay. That's okay. Thank you.
thank you. And please tell me your name again.
Brooke Jeffs. I'll
Okay.
spell the last name for you.
Thank you.
Oh, that good enough? Okay. Good evening. My name is Brooke Jeffs, and I have 3 children in Oconee schools. I'm also the daughter, niece, cousin, and sister-in-law of lifelong classroom educators, school and county administrators in and out of state. I would like to highlight a few recent, very positive changes to the Georgia Milestones. On February 18th, Governor Kemp and Superintendent Woods again asked the U.S. Department of Education to waive standardized testing and accountability requirements. Unfortunately, that request was denied, so Georgians will again have to spend about $20 million to offer these tests. To quote portions of Superintendent Woods' February 24th statement, quote, "Georgia will have to proceed with administering the Georgia Milestones assessment this spring. I completely disagree with this decision. At this point, our focus is on ensuring the disheartening decision does not harm the health and safety of any Georgia student. The State Board of Education approved my recommendation to reduce the weight of Georgia Milestones EOCs to 0.01% of students' final grades. I have communicated to Georgia school districts that they should not require virtual students to come into the building solely for the purpose of taking Georgia Milestones and should ensure that parents understand this option is available to them." End quote. 2 important points with good news and bad news. Number 1, the bad news is that districts will still have to offer students in grades 3 through 8 the opportunity to take Milestones end of grade tests. The good news, just as in previous years, students do not actually have to take them. And of course, no one should ever suggest otherwise to our teachers, to our parents, or to our students. Even though there is not technically an opt-out choice, if a parent just sends a note to the school requesting that their child not test, the student will be able to do something else. As Superintendent Woods has said, quote, "When a parent chooses for their child not to participate, we provide appropriate learning opportunities for those students," end quote. Number 2, the bad news is that the districts also have to offer those 4 Milestones end of course exams for Algebra 1, American Lit, Biology, and U.S. History. The good news is that since they will only count for a mere 0.01% of the final grade this year, parents and students could decide if participating is even worth the time. To prepare for more students not taking Milestones this year, some districts are surveying parents in advance. Other districts are presuming that students will not test, but to meet those federal requirements, will still, of course, provide the opportunity, much the way that Oconee presumed students would be face-to-face learners unless parents elected virtual learning. In conclusion, I know we all appreciate that State Superintendent Woods is working very hard to eliminate high stakes and over-testing, and that he did everything he could to eliminate Milestones altogether this year. Even without a federal waiver, we can still be thankful that taking 3rd through 8th grade Milestones remains entirely optional, and that those 4 EOCs will only count for 0.01% this year. So let's all be sure to capitalize on every opportunity to share complete information about these Milestones tests with our teachers, with our parents, and with our students. Truly thank everyone in this room for your service to our community. Thank you. I did it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, thank you.
My family's heard it 47 times.
Okay, we had one topic, which was the calendar. If anyone wanted to comment on it from the community. Hearing none. We do have a need for executive session this evening, personnel. So we need a motion to adjourn to that.
I make a motion the board adjourn to executive session to discuss or deliberate upon personnel matters as described on an affidavit that will be attached to the minutes.
Thank you. Ms. Argos made that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Parrish. All in favor, please raise your hands. And that passes 4-0. Thank you.